You might think this story is about a man who wants to erase a relationship. It's not. It's about what happens when pain feels unbearable. And you're offered a way out that seems merciful. Stay until the end. Because this is not a story about memory loss. It's about the moment you realize that forgetting is not the same as healing. And if this kind of reflection hits you, subscribe now. This channel is not about movies. It's about what they quietly reveal about us. Joel doesn't want to become someone else. He doesn't want power. He doesn't want control. He doesn't want revenge. He wants relief. He wants the noise to stop. The constant replay or the emotional loop. The exhaustion of remembering someone who no longer exists in his life. And that's what makes this story dangerous. Because Joel doesn't choose to erase Clementine out of cruelty. He chooses it out of fatigue. Out of the belief that forgetting will finally allow him to function again. And almost every human mistake begins exactly there. The procedure promises something seductive, a clean break. No confrontation, no mourning, no slow digestion of loss, just silence. And silence feels like peace when you're overwhelmed. But the film never frames this as a clear solution. It frames it as a temptation. Because pain is not just suffering, pain is information. And when you erase pain, you erase context. You erase the emotional friction that shaped who you became. Joel believes he's removing Clementine. What he's actually removing is the version of himself that learned through her. And that's the part most people miss. Because the memories being erased are not just memories of love. They are memories of conflict, of disappointment, of misunderstanding, of vulnerability. Moments where Joel felt exposed. Moments where he didn't know how to respond. Moments where he was hurt and stayed anyway. Those moments don't disappear quietly. They resist. Inside his own mind, Joel starts running. Not from Clementine. From the realization that something essential is being taken from him. And this is where the story quietly turns its focus toward you. Because most people don't want to erase relationships. They want to erase the discomfort that came with them. The shame of having trusted. The frustration of having stayed too long. The grief of realizing that love didn't save anything. We don't want to forget the person. We want to forget how much it hurt to care. And that distinction changes everything. There's a lie buried deep in this desire. The idea that if you remove the memory, you remove the consequence. But identity doesn't work like that. You are not a sum of happy moments. You are a structure built around friction, around mistakes, around emotional failures, around moments that forced you to adapt. Joel's mind starts collapsing not because the memories are gone, but because the emotional weight they carried still exists. The body remembers what the mind tries to delete, and that's uncomfortable because it suggests something most people avoid admitting. Suffering is not a bug in the system. It's part of how the system grows. Pain slows you down so you can process. Loss forces you to reorganize. Grief reshapes priorities. If you remove those forces entirely, you don't become free. You become shallow, functional, but hollow. That's why the erasure feels wrong, even when it seems successful. Joel becomes quieter, flatter, less reactive, not because he healed, but because something inside him stopped engaging. And here's the part that hits hardest. At no point does Joel become stronger through forgetting. He becomes lighter. And lightness is not resilience, it's avoidance. Real resilience is built by staying present with what hurts long enough for it to transform you. And transformation is slow, messy, uncomfortable, which is exactly why erasure feels so attractive. This film doesn't argue that memory defines love. It argues that pain defines meaning. That the moments we want to delete are often the moments that taught us the most about who we are and what we need. Joel's tragedy isn't that he loved Clementine. It's that he believed loving her was a mistake worth erasing. And that belief is far more common than people like to admit. How many times have you wished you could be colder, more detached, less affected, more efficient emotionally? Not because you don't care, but because caring costs too much. The film never answers this directly. It just shows you the outcome. A life that continues, but feels strangely unfinished. Because when you erase the lesson, you repeat the pattern. That's why Joel and Clementine meet again. Not because fate is romantic, but because unresolved structures recreate themselves. What isn't integrated returns. And this is the quiet warning buried in the story. You can forget a person. You cannot forget what you failed to understand. If you erase the pain without extracting the meaning, you guarantee repetition. And maybe that's the most uncomfortable idea of all. That suffering isn't something to eliminate. It's something to metabolize. And if you don't, it just comes back wearing a different face. If this story felt personal in ways you didn't expect, you're not imagining it. That's the point. If you want to keep exploring characters this way, not as heroes or villains, but as mirrors, subscribe, because the next story won't hurt in the same place, but it will hit something just as familiar, and you'll feel it before you understand why.